Howdy, boys, girls, cats, squirrels, so close, welcome to the YouTube channel. Welcome back, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day. Checking out a little video I saw pop up on my feed by moistcritikal Charlie. Basically the #1 source for internet news. And this one's kind of interesting because I was there in the early days of FaZe when they were just starting their esports team. And obviously they entered with a Call of Duty team. It makes sense, and I got to see a lot of the FaZe guys live and the esports team perform live, and it's just a cool environment to be at a live esports event. But I feel like a lot of the mainstream people, the people that really follow FaZe and just know the name, don't know that they are a big fixture in the esports scene, especially in CSGO. For me personally, I've been a fan of that team probably since like 2016. People also probably don't know this about me, but I love just watching esports, whether it's PUBG, R6, Rocket League. You got the Smash and Melee tournaments that are insane, like CSGO or Valorant. Those games, high intensity, so much going on, and it's just fun to follow. And so what brings us back to today and why I'm watching this, and I'm just interested what Charlie has to say about FaZe, because they started investing in a lot of different things, not just esports, but influencers, other businesses, clout. I mean, I just bought pizza bites with FaZe branding on it. So the business side of FaZe is really trying to push that name, a full-on brand of internet celebrity. No longer gaming. And what's happening specifically in esports is money is just getting thrown everywhere. And a lot of the money is coming from shady sponsorships that are all drying up. So what's going on with FaZe is their stock price is plummeting. And that is just the early signs of going bankrupt and possibly the company and FaZe dissipating. So I want to hear what Charlie has to say a little bit about why the industry is struggling. He owns his own esports team. He knew what he was getting into. He says this all the time. His expectations to make a profit is not really high for any of the esports teams, and he's getting into a lot of big name games, Rocket League and Valorant, just to name a few that I follow personally. So we're about to see if this bubble is gonna pop.
Another day, another disaster in the esports industry.
Great.
Today, we have
Doesn't
to
sound
mourn
good.
the loss of an esports icon, someone whose passion for the industry as well as their non-stop involvement in the space.
Well, the
is
thumbnail had
something
Snoop
that's
Dogg on it.
very powerful and special, something I think we can all learn from.
I didn't know
I'm
Snoop
talking,
was...
of course, about Snoop Dogg. Snoop
I
Dogg,
didn't know
as
he
you
was on
know, is one of
FaZe.
the founding fathers of
D-O-double-G.
FaZe. He's been with the company for about a year now.
Oh my God, that's where the money's going. It's just burning on jewelry. They say jewelry is like the worst investment. And cars.
And honestly,
And
it's
strippers.
probably what he's most known for now. Aside from all of the other success he's had in his career, FaZe is probably what Snoop Dogg is most known for. And unfortunately, we're going to have to hold a funeral service for him now.
Don't
Not
they
because he's, like,
also
actually-
have a basketball player? Like, they just have miscellaneous figures in different industries on FaZe. For no reason at all.
Dead, but because he's dead to esports, he has resigned from FaZe. According to their SEC filing, it wasn't due to any disagreements between Snoop Dogg and FaZe Clan, and it's only been a little over a year since he joined in the first place.
The contract's
I'm of course
up.
kidding. I imagine most of you didn't even know Snoop Dogg was part of FaZe Clan because they made this big hoopla one time when he signed up, but he couldn't
Classic.
even be bothered to show up to the announcement in person, so instead all they've ever done together is have a picture of Snoop Dogg holding the FaZe Clan chain. That's really about it. That's about where his involvement in FaZe
gosh.
stops. He took one
probably
picture
spent,
with
like,
their chain.
$200,000.
And that's it. He said, "All right, my job's done here. Thanks for the shares and the payday, I guess. Glad to be here." And he just kind of rode that for over a year.
FaZe got a little bit too big for their britches, is what it sounds like.
Just a severe
sad.
case of
It's kind of
goofball
sad.
brain here with the decision to bring Snoop Dogg on to FaZe as part of their board of directors.
Whose
as
decision
well.
was that?
This isn't a decision that is exclusive to just FaZe. This was actually a trend in the esports space where a lot of mainstream celebrities that have never touched the video game in their life all started being brought on board as
Drake
kind
and
of
100
the face of
Thieves.
organizations.
Not
So
really,
Snoop
but
Dogg, that was supposed
I
to
think
be
he
his role.
invested in him.
And the idea is these mainstream celebrities open their brand up to new viewers, new potential
I think
customers,
Shaq
which will hopefully
owns
allow
one.
them to make more
Energy?
money because those new customers now might buy merch and help them actually generate a profit
It's all about
in
that
an industry
merch.
where profit is a forbidden, illegal word to use because it just doesn't fucking exist. In esports, profit is like finding a
He knows.
leprechaun's pot of gold. It's
knows.
impossible. There's no such thing. There's very few
Especially
orgs
if
that
you aren't
turn
winning.
any level of profit. It's very rare. So they all got desperate and thought this might be the play. Grab celebrities like Snoop Dogg, and hopefully we'll get some new customers that'll help us get in the green.
Nope.
And it clearly has not worked at all.
Abort.
I think the idea, like the logic behind it, makes sense, but you need a celebrity who actually knows what the fuck is going on in the industry, or at the very least plays games. Snoop Dogg streams occasionally, but for over a month he couldn't even be bothered to turn audio on.
Snoop Dogg's got some funny clips on Twitch, yo. Him raging at Madden. There's a really good one.
Streamed completely muted, and he never noticed. He'd go a month,
There's no
over a month,
FaZe
with just a
branding
completely
anywhere.
fucking muted stream, like you were sitting in a fucking sensory deprivation tank when you had a Snoop Dogg stream
Charlie,
on.
chill. He's
I guess
a dad,
maybe
man.
it was good
He's a
for like
boomer now.
sleep aid. That might be a real argument you can make, but he is clearly not someone who ever understood esports to begin with.
No.
This was just supposed to be like a desperate Hail Mary to hopefully get new audience.
You
to,
gotta get
buy
gamers
into the
like
FaZe
Henry
brand.
Cavill,
and we can really
Vin
see how
Diesel.
well that worked for FaZe in particular here. The proof is in the pudding. This is a recipe for home runs.
Oh, yo. Wasn't he? It was even lower than this, too. I think it went down to like 30 cents.
Can't stop winning here. Look at this fucking stock price, absolutely crushing it. So the point is,
Fell off a
it's not
cliff.
something that FaZe alone is struggling with. All of esports is kind of imploding right now. The bubble has finally burst. In addition to Snoop Dogg making his grand departure from the space, CLG yesterday announced that they're pretty much folding as well. I believe they're being purchased by a different entity, but overall their operations are ceasing. They're halting all of their esports spending. I think the only thing they're keeping intact is their league-related arm.
Sad.
All the rest are being flushed down the shitter, so there's been mass layoffs. A ton of people banished to the Shadow Realm overnight here from the CLG closing of their doors. And it's a huge surprise to everybody, especially because even just like a couple weeks ago, they were making new signings. Like they just signed 2 new Smash Brothers Melee players, and now, not even a full month later, they're like, actually, company's gone. We're completely changing everything. So
didn't the guild also do something quite like that? Not with its teams, but a lot of the people that worked for the company. They just fired everybody.
So a spokesperson has apparently said that they're trying to, better position their company for long-term success and, looking at alternative business strategy. I guess that strategy is give up and roll over, because that's what it really feels like. Hoping that someone will purchase the, remnants, the skeleton crew of CLG. And it's not like I blame them. Like I said, the industry is just not generating money at all. Esports does not make money. And that is a lesson that everyone is now learning in that space. And it's something that myself, Ludwig, Matt, Danny, all of us knew beforehand when we made Moist
SoCloseToast
Esports.
also has a team. Other Toast out there. He's also got some teams, and he's seen all these problems already, and nobody's talked about it until now.
We knew that this industry was held up with fucking imagination, like SpongeBob and Patrick in their box. All it was imaginary valuation on all their shit and hopium that eventually they'll be able to somehow make money. And that's not the reality of the situation. So we knew going into it this was going to be losing money out the wazoo, maybe forever, and we're fine with it because it's a space we are genuinely passionate about. But all of these other companies don't have the same luxury that we have. They do need to make money in order to continue to exist, and they really can't right now. So all of their business strategy over the last 5 or 6 years is eating them alive, which is why so many of them are experiencing these massive layoffs or just completely vanishing. Poof. Like another one, United recently had to fold as well. Really? It's just been a really tumultuous period in the esports scene. I don't think esports as a whole are going to die. Like competitive gaming isn't going anywhere, but these orgs are.
Everybody.
They're having to swallow a very tough pill.
The hunger for competition will never die.
Terrible decisions for years now, and it's not working out. So CLG is the most recent victim here. But again, them and FaZe, they're still not alone. Even earlier this week, TSM.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was just about to say TSM. Like, they have been having problems. But they've also been talking about getting back into CSGO, too. So who knows?
Games in gaming had to announce that they are going to have to be making changes as well. They're pulling out of several titles, as well as just kind of pumping the brakes pretty hard on a lot of their other ventures that they were pursuing. It was even reported that they were considering selling their slot in the LCS, which is almost blasphemous because TSM's been in League of Legends like since the fucking start. I mean, that is crazy. And
they're
of
like
course, most of you probably remember that they had a huge deal with FTX.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a $200 million deal that was also included with naming rights, so they were TSM FTX. But we all know how FTX, you know, turned out. That fucking fairy tale ending. Absolute disaster, which of course was a huge hit to TSM, but they did make a statement saying that they were strong, profitable, and stable following the cancellation with FTX. But now I've got to question if that's true, or if that was just a load of hooey, because Jesus Christ, this is a huge deal. Selling an LCS slot, especially for an org like TSM, is a crazy thing to even think is right around the corner potentially. Now, I understand LCS itself is kind of dying. It's treading water. Let's just call it like it is. We don't need to be huffing any copium here.
Which is crazy because League is such a popular game still. I don't know what they're doing.
Itself has not been doing great. League overall has been fine. Like other regions have been doing great in some cases, but the LCS in particular, not so much. Viewership is not looking amazing. People don't really get excited about it. So that is also something to consider with the TSM situation.
It's also really bad. Sorry, I keep pausing. When individual streamers have bigger viewer watch parties than the actual main streams of these games and competitions. So it's like one person taking a lot of the viewers and the profit. I don't know.
Situation here, like maybe unless they just have feel a deal, like it's in their best interest to sell it, you know, because they want to ensure that they can remain profitable and stable. So they could be doing this as a preventative cautionary measure to make sure they don't bite off more than they can chew down the line should the esports industry continue to get worse. So maybe they aren't as bad as it initially appears here with them like halting a lot of things and pulling out of some titles. But either way, it's still at least alarming because the industry itself, all of esports, is just not healthy at all. It is held together by fucking toothpicks and glue. It's like making those old like spaghetti fortresses like back in science class where you're supposed to like make a little spaghetti building. Like that is pretty much the entire esports space, and right now that spaghetti building is really wobbling. It's just it's sad to see, but it was also the most predictable shit ever. I don't know how people didn't see this coming sooner. Like, even on the outside, I know a lot of viewers are like, man, how the fuck are these esports orgs?
Yeah, you know who saw it, though? The accountants. And they probably said to all these orgs that they're working for, like, yo, the money, it's just, like, flowing out, and there's just nothing coming in. And the orgs are probably just like, shut up.
It's even profitable. And the answer was always, they're not. But for some reason, the orgs themselves never had this eureka moment, this, you know, flip of the light switch to like, holy shit, this is going to be bad pretty soon. We're not able to actually recoup our costs. And now they're panicking, they're
firing
and
everybody.
It's chaos, pandemonium. And I just wanted to talk about it a little bit because obviously I'm in the industry with Moist Esports, of course, so I see a lot of it and I have a lot of information on like the back end of what's going on with other orgs. And it's always just surprising to hear that this is something they didn't foresee and didn't plan for accordingly. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of go over this whole topic. And once again, it is sad to see Snoop Dogg leave. I know most of
no, it's not. Who cares? He doesn't care. Nobody cares. I'm just trying to think like what their thought process is. You know, it's not like when you have Selena Gomez with L'Oreal and then coming out with their own branded bottle or makeup, you know, getting aligned with a brand or an artist or something like that, and they're selling it and promoting it in a certain way. Snoop Dogg just took a picture on his iPhone 8. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think of all this? If you follow esports, what teams do you follow? What games do you follow? If you're not interested, I would get interested in esports, even though it's about to crumble and collapse. I mean, what better time to get into it than to look back on what was a magical time? But esports, for me personally, is something I'm passionate about. I love watching it. I feel like nowadays I watch esports more than regular sports. I don't know if that's sad or not, but who cares? I enjoy it, whatever. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for stopping by, saying hi, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out. Shake 'em and bake 'em.